Traveling as a young person from just like 12 years old onward, it's really, it's just made me like choose not to have a direction. I think that's what happened to me is like, I never knew where I was going. Well, I knew where I was going physically, but mentally, I was just never really prepared for what was coming next. My parents were deported, sent back to Mexico. Ironically enough, it caught up to them, I guess, somehow. That's kind of like the moment that became the moment that I was in. Like from then on, I was just gonna be traveling, just back and forth. It got to the point where they kind of like kicked. They didn't kick me out of the house, but they were like, "You got to go back to California. Like you got to leave us and start your future. Like your future isn't here with us." So for me, it's been these past 9 years now, almost 10 years, just going back and forth from Mexico to San Diego, to the Bay Area, to Santa Cruz, just everywhere. And now my sister's in Virginia, and so I have to go and visit her across the country. And just at times it has messed with my psyche. I don't know where I belong. I don't know what home is.
Well, let's say you're reflecting back on a memory. It's not really the memory, the experience itself, but rather the last time.
How I perceived it?
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of mediated, diluted, filtered.
It's what I just remembered just now, back on the bus, was that night that I was out on that stage, and it was a beautiful night. I remember it being a beautiful night. But that's all it'll ever be again, is just that memory. And I'm never gonna relive that. But it's still part of me.
I mean, you're aware that memories are fleeting sometimes. How do you feel about that?
Well, I guess what does reliving in those memories, living in those memories have to do or affect who you are now?
That's a good question. I wouldn't, if I was never thinking about the past, I wouldn't know how to shape my future to make it emulate certain emotions I had in the past, or just certain ideals that I would like to maintain.
Is it different with your parents?
For me, it's that's the part of my life that I don't want to let go of. That's the part of my life, that's the part of my history.
Everywhere you go?
Everywhere I go, they'll still, I still have to come back to my parents and come back to my sister. Cool. You're at a time in your life where you just need that parental figure. My aunt, she wasn't really that parental figure that I needed. During this summer vacation, I realized that my home was with my parents. My home was in Mexico. That's where I wanted it to be. But then my parents, again, they wanted me to have a better future for myself, not just stay in Mexico. There was some laying over there, just letting the water droplets fall from the tree, the leaves onto their face. There were just people doing weird shit over here. I was just walking backwards for some reason, and I was coming to terms with I just felt very warm inside, and I wanted to share that knowledge, just love. I wanted to love someone, something. Most of my experiences out here on this stage are some form of just changing my state of consciousness.
Identity, I think, naturally changes over the course of time. But if you are constantly in motion, it's kind of like a sped up process, and how do you pause and say, who is this person at this moment?
Traveling as a young person from just 12 years old onward, it's really, you know, it's just made me like choose not to have a direction. I think that's what happened to me, is like, I never knew where I was going. Well, I knew where I was going physically, but mentally, I was just never really prepared for what was coming next. I feel like it's more difficult to navigate through like life with so much instability. Yeah, why Santa Cruz though? Cause like, I mean, I came here out of just like, all right, that's where I'm going next. But now I just like, I want to stay here. But I know it's not permanent.